All right, that music tells me that we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all those who lieth betwixt and beyond. It's me, Woat. And in the booth with me tonight, we've also got my partner in crime. Isn't that right? That's right, Woat. It's me, Woat. That's right, y'all. We've got a solo commentary stream tonight, and we have a pack of ducklings. Don't think that's actually the right term for a group of ducklings, but I'm not going to bother looking it up. And I'm sure chat will correct me anyway. So, what we've got tonight is the flags of the Garland Circuit for our Duckling Derby this weekend. And in honor of that, we have a bunch of ducklings in here. And we've got a pretty decent variety. We've got Min rocking what looks to be a fighter, thief, black mage, white mage. Able to run, able to cast, able to hit. We've got Life, Reboot, and he is running black belt, red mage strats. Not bad in this flag set. They get 10% XP per key item, and they're already sitting at 2.5 times XP. We've got a fighter rainbow, it looks like, from Kalsu. She's running the standard, and if you don't know what a fighter rainbow is, just know that it's a fighter plus the ability to cast every spell in the game several times over. And Ragnarok is rocking with a black belt, a thief, a red mage, and a white mage. So that's actually pretty interesting too. So all 4 of our runners running something different. 2 of them counting on that high XP, and the other 2 counting on just tired and true methods. So we're going to see what pays off tonight. We'll get into what the flags are, but I'm going to go ahead and get things rolling. I think everyone's readied up. And I have the gate, so I'll be the one to raise it. But I hope that y'all are hyped up for this, because this is going to be an entertaining race. Everything's 150%, so that means that everything is going to die horrifically. So, possibly the runners. We do have enemy shuffle on, so there's no telling what's going to have what. One thing we are guaranteed is we ain't seeing Marsh Cave unless things go horrifically wrong. But I am lifting the gate up, so we are going to get going here in a minute. And yeah, going ahead and get my stretch on before we start watching this. So we do have Magic Shuffle on as usual. Town Shuffle's not on, so this is very simple flags. Everything's going to be roughly where you expect it to be. The big thing that we have to find is key items. We do have a bridge and canal to start things off, and our runners are going to probably be looking for a ship or a canoe to go ahead and start exploring the world. Incentive locations tonight do include Ice Cave, Canaria, Ordeals, and I believe Titans, yeah. But no Marsh Cave, neither Locked or Wizard Chest. So let's see, I'm seeing, level 1 Life 2. That's going to be huge for everyone, because they're all going to have access to that, and I think that was 3rd slot, so they definitely have access. Bane and Fire 2 and Confuse to lead off in the black magic. Confuse is going to come in handy when it comes to carry, and rapiers and short swords out the gate. And chain armor. Alright. Our shops are shuffled tonight, but it looks like all of the good starting equipment landed right there in Canaria, so this is a pretty good setup. Not so much on the camping supplies. That's going to be a big thing early on if anything nasty rolled in the early dungeons, but well, we're going to find out shortly. We've got Imps with Toxic. Okay, never mind. We do have Encounter Rarity shuffled, so there is a good chance that we might not have to fight our way through through the worst imps ever. But that is not a start anyone wants to see. Because it looks like we have at least a couple of imp encounters out the gate, but a decent run, at least for the Canaria area, so that's good. For the unaware, Canaria has a lot of tiles where you don't get into fights, and it looks like Min is deciding he doesn't want to run the risk of bumping into any imps in Ordeals, or at least he wants to be able to bail out of Ordeals as quickly as he can. Either way, Garland's dead. And yeah, Min just immediately bails out of Ordeals. So we have an herb and a ship. So that herb is going to come in handy because objective NPCs, the NPCs that you hand over these key items to, like the herb, are not shuffled tonight. So that's going to translate into he can immediately turn in that herb at the Elf Prince location and get another key item. All of them can. It's just a question of who's going to do that. Life Reboot, meanwhile, looks like he's going to have a little bit of trouble early on just because of that relatively smaller chance of actually getting that run off against the Toxic Imps. So Min's heading over to Provoca, and let's see what we've got here at second level. Cure 4 and Exfer. Both very nice spells to see in that life level where everything can get cast. Early Warp and Early Temper and Early Quake. So Life Reboot not going to get punished for taking that Red Mage. Because all the spells you want are Red Mage learnable so far. But let's see what the Pirate Gang here has in Provoca. We have that Bane and we have that Fire 2, and I believe Unsafe Pirates is off, so this is basically just a how long do we have to wait until the Sweeper spell hits? And Kaosu, she doesn't have to wait very long. Meantime, let's see. Everyone else kind of just hiking on through, and we have a loot. That is not going to get us anywhere new, but with the early canal and the ship, that really doesn't matter. And an early floater. So we're going to have to dive at least 1 or 2 dungeons to get that gold quickly. But that is a really good thing to see, even if you are going to have to track back for that. I didn't actually pay attention to if there's any other save items in the item shop, and I'm sure someone with quicker eyes is going to be more than capable of handling that front. Classic Gamer pointing out that among the dungeons you could dive here is Marsh. No one's going to dive Marsh. No one. It's not happening. But we are going to see what the Elf Prince has as Min makes his trip over to Elfland. And let's see. The hits keep on coming. We've got Lock and Fire 3 at level 3 Black Magic. Lock, a spell I like to see. Not everyone necessarily agrees. Harm 4 in 4th slot, level 3 White Magic. Pretty much the only thing you really care about, or might even care about. But even then, with Fire 2... and Fire 3, Harm 4 is kind of just there. Invis 2 at level 4 White, and Quad X, Lock 2, and Lit 3. So, really, this has been a pretty solid Black Magic, and White Magic, early on in this seed. The big thing I think we really are missing right now is Nuke and Fade. And maybe Exit. And... looks like we've got a fetch quest, everyone. Which, yeah, that's alright. Dwarves are relatively easy to get to. The area around them doesn't have any imps, which I think everyone's really banking on right now. Alright, so let's check out on everyone else. Because they're all kind of following Min right now. And they're continuing to follow Min. Ooh, cheap pro rings. Min did not check the armor shop. That's nice to see. For the unaware, Pro Rings, best armor in the game, and also provide as protection against the death element. And that's at Provoca, so that's good to know. And at that price, everyone in your party is going to have... you're probably going to have enough money by the time you get back to buy that floater to be able to armor up your party. And since it's equipped by everyone, that's going to be really handy early on. So yeah. If I had to guess, Min probably was using the money he picked up from those fights to go ahead and stock up on some gear. And by gear, I mean items. But yeah, I don't think we've seen anything else nasty so far. At least I haven't seen anyone look like they lost time. Okay. So it looks like we've got cabins and tents for sale. I think Rag is in, yeah, Elfland. So, again, I don't recall if Min checked that item shop, but that's going to be interesting if he didn't. Although he does find a tent, so that's at least going to give him the ability to save somewhere. So at this point, let's see, we can't get to Ice or Volcano. And Volcano would be the play you probably would make early on like this. To get money fast. So, Cube doesn't really open up anything for us because we don't have the Chime. We do have extended open progression on, so Mirage would be an option if Chimes were available somewhere. Hey, weirdo! And yeah, hey to everyone who's filtered in. I've kind of been trying to pay attention to the race, so I haven't really been looking over at chat, but things will probably slow down here in a few. Those imps definitely would, like, normally Matoya and, you know, Temple of Fiends would be good plays to make, but those imps basically make both of them just like, no. But Toxic's Death Elemental. If you could get the money together to make those pro rings, that would at least make it a lot quicker to check things. But yeah, so at this point, what are we looking at? Earth Cave might actually... Earth or Marsh? No. Marsh, I think you do have... No. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud here. I think you have a chance of running into imps on the top layer of Marsh. Maybe. I think it's a low chance. So I think Marsh and Earth are the two plays you would probably want to make at this stage. Min's going ahead and making that the Temple of Fiends dive. Ooh, okay. That pro ring makes us a lot more palatable to go check Matoya for Min. Because he can get a character through with that pro ring in tow. Well, the problem Classic Gamer right now is without a canoe... Yeah, without a canoe, you can't get to Ordeals, you can't get to Volcano, and you can't get to Waterfall, and you can't get to Ice. So that knocks out a lot of the dungeons that you don't need a key item to get into. We don't have Oxyel, and we don't have Chime, so that knocks out the lighter two Fiend dungeons, and yeah, Ragnarok's already making that Marsh play. So yeah, like, Marsh and Earth are kind of your real options right now. And of the two, Marsh has the higher chest density, in terms of how many steps you need to take before you can open another box. And the thing is we already know that Toxic's basically off the table. Unless, of course, you're dealing with, 2-hit Poison Touch Wizards. That's bad news, bears. But yeah, so Min going ahead and making that Matoya play like I figured, because those imps lose a lot of the bite if you've got that pro ring to basically say, forget you guys and your Toxic. Alright. So let's see here. Let's check in with everyone else. So Ragnarok's been checking Marsh Cave, and I've been a bad commentator and not paying attention to the chests, but that's what we have Danny for. So hopefully she can let me know if anything cool was found. Sounds like Ice Armor was somewhere down there based on what chat's saying, so... and yes, this is a call-out. Alright, yeah, thank you, Weirdo. I did catch the wizards being horrifying. And yeah, Crescent Lake, we do have early sages, and not confused old men tonight. Sorry, sports fans. So we are going to find out what key item is available here. If it does turn out to be the canoe, that opens up some options for... Kalsu. Otherwise, we're probably going to be seeing... Okay, it's the rod. Okay, that ups the value of the early Earth play. Because now you can go ahead and clear it, and you don't have to go to Marsh. Yeah, I don't believe that we have Trap Tile Shuffle on tonight, Weirdo. So it's one of those things where all the Trap Tiles are going to be exactly what you expect. Yeah. Let me pop up. Okay. So yeah, there's not really anything else to gain from the early play into Earth aside from getting the Fiend knocked out. But if your goal is to find enough wealth to go ahead and pick up that floater, based on what I've been catching on Ragnarok's screen, there ain't no money down in Marsh to really benefit from. So I think we're going to see everyone eventually make that Earth play, just because there's not really anywhere else to go unless you plan to do a lot of grinding. I mean, they call it a fiend dungeon. There's some dude in pajamas who lives down at the bottom of it. And I think he like has a duplex or a timeshare thing going on with this like weekend glarper or something. I don't know. There's some weird stuff going on in Earth Cave. It's why everyone avoids it. No one really likes to ask too many questions, but I mean, the game says you gotta go down to the bottom of Earth Cave, so you go down to the bottom of Earth Cave. Question chat, are there any loose? There is one loose tonight. Although I think... Yeah, okay, no, the thingy does actually, like, account for when you make things free, so I believe we have one loose tonight. But yeah, so it looks like Min is going to be our first runner to make it into Earth Cave. I don't think he has the rod, so... Yeah. So just to kind of catch everyone up, yeah, thank you, Darren Dries. There is a Masamune in the pool, or Masamune, for those of you who prefer. So it is one of those things where, oh, okay, we have a loose crown. So, yeah, no, everything else is in incentive location, weirdo. Thanks for playing. So that opens up the possibility of the Astos play. Oh, wow, that's an early crown. So that is one thing everyone should realize pretty quick, though, looking at this, is everyone's going to find that crown, because everything just leads to Earth Cave. Like, the worst that anyone's going to do is something like Rag was doing in dipping into marsh early. Yes, dear, I knew that you were going to give me grief. For those of you playing along on YouTube, one of my significant others just gave me grief about my pronunciation of Masamune. Anyway, though, that's getting off track. What is on track is, yeah, Ragnarok made the marsh play. I didn't really see if there was anything too good down there. We have Better Trap Treasure on in these flags. And what Better Trap Treasure does is it tells the randomizer, hey, you know all the good items that people actually want? Try to put those in those trap chests that, you know, are generally pains in the butt. And, you know, the trap chests being the spike tiles, the traps that are... Talking is hard, folks. The treasure chests that are guarded by monsters, that you automatically get into a fight to before you open them. But yeah. Look, folks, it's 2020. Sometimes relationships are complicated and weird. And yeah. That, again, we're getting off track here. Let's focus on the fact that Min did not have the rod, and so he is going to take that crown and probably go talk to the kindly old king in Northwest Castle. Which, if I'm not mistaken, it is technically faster to park at Dwarves and go to Northwest, rather than parking at Elfland. So, yeah, there you go. And I see that there is some Team Vorpal love in chat. Vorpal Sword being one of the several swords that are considered in-game viable in this game. Specifically, it's the one that's slightly worse than Katana, and hello, opening credits. Yeah, we haven't actually had to cross the bridge or the canal yet, so there we go. But yeah, so in the meantime, Min is going to go turn that crown, and it's a tail. Folks, We have to raise the money for that floater. All of our progression is now locked behind the floater. Because our one loose item was the crown. Crown leads to tail. Tail doesn't do us any good without the floater. Sages gave us the rod. That doesn't lead to a key item. Herb gave us adamant, which gave us cube, which doesn't lead anywhere because we need the chime in order to make use of that. BK the pirate gave us the loot. Yeah, no, we are officially in a, hey, do you want to raise 17k? Because you need to raise 17k for the floater. Because the floater's our shop item tonight. So, this is going to be interesting. Because, yeah. I'm really curious to see if we're going to see someone just grind that money out, which Life Reboot is fighting Peds. He may be thinking about just grinding that money up. So let's see here. Let's see where everyone else is. So, Kalsu has the ability to clear Earth, so she may go ahead and clean out Earth. Yeah. Life does at least have the advantage of being able to life to that black belt back to life. And I think he is thinking in terms of whatever play he makes is going to rely on that black belt being able to get up to punching weight quickly. Min's already most of the way, though, to being able to buy that floater. So he may also be thinking about how to make that money. We could see a pop grind from him. Peninsula Power. For those of you who aren't familiar with original Final Fantasy, there is a zone on the first continent that gets you closer to the end game, like overworld enemies, which are pretty beefy. But with the spells available, I didn't see if Min picked up what all Min has picked up. They're killable. And it may be a situation where Min may opt to go do the Peninsula Power grind, pick up that floater in Provoca, and then sail around, because we do have extended open progression, I should say. So he can take the ship around to pick up the floater from a dock that our dev team has added down by the floater desert, the Ryukon. So Min may be looking at, well, he's sailing away from Provoca, so he's not looking at that. He may be thinking, well, I need to go do the Sages. That's where we're at. But in the meantime, let's see. So Kalsu is opting to go ahead and do that Earth dive. Life Reboot, I think, has figured out that Peds are a very early encounter right outside of Crescent Lake. So I think he's trying to go ahead and get some levels up. Really, that black belt and the spells available, he's probably looking at getting that black belt up to at least level 11 or 12. Go ahead and at least get him to a point where his fists are on par with, like, you know, everyone else's weapons. Oh, crap, he's already, like... Not sure. I think he's level 12 on the black belt, level 19 on that red mage, so... That's solid. That's solid. A level 19 red mage will carry you through a lot of trouble. Let's see. I haven't seen anything on Kalsu's side yet, and I'm sure that y'all will be free to check me on that. But she's making good time heading down here. So, I suspect Kalsu will be our first runner to light an orb, unless there is something nasty. Oh, wait. Those wizards are down on the fourth floor here. And that's not great. She does at least stop to see the bats. It's always nice to let them know that they're remembered, and what else everyone remembers? Earths are bad folks. Unfortunately, of the 4 runners on stream, one of the 2 who has no use for a katana finds it first. Yeah, you're right, Classic Gamer. Wizards are also 3rd floor. But I think they're more common on the 4th floor. Like, I think they might be, like, group 6 or 8 on 3rd floor, whereas I think they're like group 3 or 4 on 4th. But I'm sure someone who knows that better than I do, or, you know, is cheating and just has the encounter tables pulled up, can say for sure. Yeah, Kalsu's out for blood, and by blood I mean, do liches bleed? Thinking emoji. Okay, I think she's found what she's looking for, though, because she skipped out on those 5 chests in North Earth 4. So she may just be thinking, let's go ahead, let's go kill the Lich, let's light an orb, and then figure out how to pay for this floater. Now, I know what you're talking about, Classic Gaming. She, you know, went and opened that chest that normally contains the ruby, and then went on down. Oh, no, you're right, she did open the slab. That does take a second, because you got to menu over to the rod if you don't have all the key items, and it's inconvenient. Yeah, it's the key. If she had the key, then it would be easy to use the rod, but, you know, she's got to menu a couple extra times because of just how the key items are arranged on the menu. Alright, so Min has gotten his rod, and I think he has all the information to know he has to go buy that floater somehow. So he may go ahead and opt to do Peninsula Power, because at this point he knows that his progression is locked behind the floater. And he's the only runner, I believe, who has that info. Yeah, no one else on stream has the tail, although Ragnarok just got the bad news that he needs to buy the floater. But Kalsu is talking to the guy who lives in the Earth Cave's basement. And she is opting to fix his heater. Just, you know, Kalsu is good people. I've done comms with her. She's fun. She's friendly. Only one loose. So, and we found that at the top of Earth Cave. But anyway, Kalsu is our first on-stream runner with an orb lit. So, technically that means she's in the lead. Technically. And we're gonna have to wait and see her menu to figure out if she has... Hey, Caleb! If she has the money to buy that floater, or... Yeah. So, Min right now, we do not have Zozo Melmond on, and I feel like that would be a great place to get money in this situation. But it's not on, so it doesn't matter. I'm not sure what Min's doing... Excuse me. Out on the ocean. He might be grinding to get the experience to cast the spells that he needs to do a Peninsula Power grind. Alright, thank you, Classic Gamer, for your quick eyes. So, let's see here. So, Kalsu's probably going to be our first airborne if she's already got the money for that floater. As far as how many people are running this seed, I believe we are looking at 13 or 14 people. So 10 runners off stream. I don't want to go ahead and type entrance into chat because I don't want to startle anyone. So you guys are just going to have to, you know, trust my rough estimation on this. But yeah, so... Oh yeah, no, Kalsu's got the money to probably also go ahead and pro-ring up a couple of party members, so she'll be in good shape. Again, I'm not sure what Min is doing with this ocean grind, but I'm sure we'll figure out eventually. So... Actually, did Kalsu check the armor shop? She might not know that there are pro rings for sale here. Also, I'm really hoping I'm not crazy and just, you know, wasn't looking at someone's sell menu. Whatever. There was a pro ring, someone was staying in an armor shop, easy mistake to make. Alright, thank you, Vince. So... Yeah, we do have 15 entrants for the folks following along on YouTube. So, Actually, I think it's 14, because one of our runners forfeit with the comment, "It's pizza time." So, apparently, he prioritized pizza over all else. But that's neither here nor there. Pizza is delicious, but so is Final Fantasy Randomizer. Alright, so Ragnarok finally making his way over to Earth Cave. He knows that he needs that floater. So I think he's following a similar path of Kalsu of, I'm going to go ahead, clear Earth Cave, I'll make the money on the way down, and then I'll go buy it. Were Pearl Rings in Elfland, Danny? So, we'll see. But yeah, Ragnarok probably looking for floater money here in Earth Cave. Min, meanwhile, I think he may have figured he'd make the, like, 3,000 he needed for the floater on the ocean and then roll out, so... Interesting set of decisions. Oh, I bet he was thinking that Peninsula of Power you have to go through Imp Country to get to. That would make sense. Surprised he didn't think about Hall of Giant grind, maybe. I feel like that would still have been more a faster choice. I'll ask him about it after the race. But Kalsu is going to... Actually, no, that's good. That's good, because we have Titan's Trove on tonight. Which is the flag that caused the Titan to make it so you cannot get the chests in this cave up here without giving him the ruby. And considering that that is an incentive location as well, no, Kalsu made the right choice. And Thundercloud, are you challenging Gregglypuff to a special race? Oh, okay. Key items upon key items. Literally, that key opens up the locked Cranaria chests, which is another incentivized location. So, Kalsu is going to gain a lot of speed very quickly. Although Min is not too far behind her, and there is a non-zero chance she might not remember to go back and... Oh, never mind. I spoke too soon. So she has her head where it needs to be. She's going to go ahead and go fight Astos. Okay. Ragnarok is doing what I mentioned. He's going to the Hall of Giants. He's going to feel it out and see if giants are easy enough to take out to get the money he needs really fast. And he's going to get that money really fast and some XP for that black belt at the same time. But yeah, she remembered that she never checked that she needed to turn that crown, so she's got her tail. And right now, these two are in the best position to actually turn in those tails and see what they can see. And I believe we are operating... Yeah, we are operating on vanilla magic defense, so... Left side of the screen wants to go ahead and check Cardia in the near future. Oh, and we have a opal bracelet in Northwest Castle, so that's also nice. Meanwhile, though, Min immediately going to go turn in that tail, which is going to be very handy. He's got that thief, so that turns that thief into a powerhouse. We do also have thief buffs on tonight. So, if he found... No, he's not dove to the vampire yet in Earth, so he doesn't have that katana, but he can still put a lot of weapons on that thief, so that's nice. Yeah, so Life, meanwhile, has a pretty tricked-out black belt and red mage, and has the money for that airship, so... Yeah, so he'll be doing a lot of good work on that front. So... Let's see here. Yeah. Sorry, I had someone say something to me real quick over on this side, so it's all good. So yeah, Min, like I said, checking the Cardia Islands, going ahead and getting some equipment. Hey, there's a Vorpal! So that's like being able to put a katana on that ninja, but worse. Although he is not equipping the ninja yet, he may be thinking in terms of going and buying some gear at some point or checking other free chests. because I do not believe that he has been down to Sarda. And, okay, well, there was the money for the airship, locked behind the airship, and also leading deeper into this fetch quest chain. Holy crap. So far we've had Floater required to get to Sarda, who gives you the ruby, who gives you the, which lands you the key, which gets you the crystal, which we're about to see what Matoya gives, which gives you the canoe, which that opens up more key item locations. So, does everyone like linear progression? Because, I think we've got linear progression tonight. But yeah. So let's see here. Everyone else still... Alright, looks like Ragnarok may have had a small hiccup with his internet connection. I'll keep an eye on IRC because he'll probably reconnect there first. But yeah, right now, Kalsu has a slight lead on Min, just because she's already got that orblet in Earth Cave. Thing is, though, is I'm not sure that's necessarily a strong lead, just because if Min saves Earth Cave for last, he's going to be able to just blitz through it. And having a thief in his party, he's just going to be able to ignore basically every fight and chest in the cave. Which may mean he misses out on the katana there, but if he finds the other katana somewhere else, it's fine. It's not that big a deal. But Kalsu's got her class changed now, so let's see here. I think at this point, Volcano and Ordeals are kind of our two plays. Because Ordeals is another incentive location, and we have the canoe. I guess we could also do Waterfall Cave. Yeah, so Waterfall, Ordeals, and Volcano and Ice are kind of the 4 dungeons open to us. I think we're going to see at least one of these runners make a play on Volcano, and possibly the other one opt for Ordeals. Both are dungeons that they can absolutely clear with the gear and spells they have at this point. Kalsu, why are you finding the red Anklo? Oh, it's a... Oh, that's bad! That's extremely bad! Well then, that's a thing. So red Ankylos, they're not fun. That's also unrunnable. Hey, since I can't take my eyes off the screen, if someone out there wants to look up if the R Ankylo single fight that's in Cardia and the 4 R Ankylo fight that you can run into up near Mirage Tower are the same formation, like A and B side, that would be awesome. Because I think they might be, and that's horrifying. Because for those of you who don't know, R Ankylos are beefy, they hit hard, they usually have high defense, but most importantly, if they're unrunnable, you have to... No, they give terrible experience. So if those are unrunnable, that's bad. That's real bad. Nah, Caleb, I'm fine. I'm just saying, like, I can't actually, like, stop looking at the screen to go look this up. So if someone wants to look this up and get back to me, I'd appreciate it, because I feel like that's the kind of thing that, you know, would actually be something folks would like to know, is, are we likely to see 4 unrunnable Ankylos at some point tonight? Because I feel like that's a reset out of this situation. Well, let's see. So Ragnarok is checking those chests, and it looks like the chests honestly don't have too much formation. Yeah, thank you, Asher. Okay, so that's not great. So Asher confirming, the 2 Ankylo formations are the same side. Or are the same thing. So for those of you who are unaware, every formation of enemies in the game has an A and a B side. Basically, they're stored essentially in the same kind of region of memory, and the game looks at those regions to figure out what's up with them. So, In this case, and the Kilo fight that you see in the Cardia Islands and the Kilo fight that you see in the area around Mirage Tower share the same formation data, which in this case means if one of them is unrunnable, the other is guaranteed to be unrunnable. That's why in the randomizer you see the Sahag Wiz Sahag fight in the Sea Shrine being unrunnable, because it shares formation data with the pirate fight in Provoca. And so, because the pirate fight has to be unrunnable because it's not fun if you can just run away from them and then get Vicky's item, that forces those to be unrunnable as well. There is some work to try and decouple this data, but for the moment it's still linked. So, you can glean some information about other parts of the seed if you know your formations. Which, there's a lot of formations in this game. I think there's like over 150. And that's just not counting A and B sides, that's counting everything separately. So, the long and short of this rambling anecdote is, and as I expected, Min just ran past that one katana. Don't worry, there's another one somewhere. He might see it. But anyway, the long and short of it is, you can glean some information if you know your formation information. So, there you go. And yeah, you can look it up in Hackster. There's also an FAQ on GameFAQs that actually does go into all the formation information. I think it's like Monster Encounters FAQ or something like that. It's purely informational, but so you'll know it if you see it. Very helpful. It's pinned on our Discord. Speaking of which, someone want to drop the link to the Discord in chat, because I think it's about that time. Those of you playing along on YouTube, you can also look it up on FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. And thank you, Caleb. Yeah, now if you're not already a member of the Final Fantasy Randomizer Discord, you should be. There's some great folks there. Pretty awesome. I hear the administrative team is incredibly handsome and or cute and or just lovely to be around. And, you know, it's one of those things. Come join us. We're kind of cool. Plus, you know, you'll find out when races like this are happening and find out how to join them. And then you can also be here listening to some guy talk about everything, anything and everything. So, while I was rambling about all of that, I believe... Yeah, I think everyone at this point has lit their Earth Orb. So... Well, Life might not have yet. It looked like he had, but... But yeah, so everyone will have their Earth Orb lit. Everyone is on their way to getting their floater at this point, because by the time they got to the bottom there, I think most of them had the money. So... At this point, I think we can safely say Kalsu has a lead. Just because she has the exploration advantage, and she's about to have a larger and larger key item advantage. Also, yes, chat pointing out, if you want to see what Rafe Hates Caleb is eating for dinner, well, we just call him Caleb, but whatever. Point being, we do have people who post their dinners. We're one of those communities. But in all fairness, they cook delicious things. And then they share it. And I'm sure if anyone actually asked for, like, recipes or anything, they'd share. Oh, hey! There's our first ribbon! So for those of you who aren't familiar with the original Final Fantasy, or the Final Fantasy series in general, the ribbon is a head item that usually does not give very great physical defense, but gives tremendous magical defense. In Final Fantasy I in particular, the ribbon provides resistance to all 8 elements. Almost every skill or spell in the game has an elemental component, and thus the ribbon is a vital item in protecting your party from all of the horrible things that can be done to it. And so, Kalsu has found a ribbon. That's very good, because you can stick that on your life caster, and basically guarantee that you can probably escape from any fight and pick your party up. Which is good, because as we've seen, there are a lot of horrible, horrible things that can happen to you in the first turn of combat. So yeah, that ribbon's really nice to see. Better than a pro ring, at least. So, let's see. Min has opted to go to the volcano. This is also a pretty good play. Because this is going to get him another orblet. It is not going to give him advancement like Kalsu's Ordeal's play, because she found the Oxyale at the back of Ordeal's. Oxyale opens up Sea Shrine. Sea Shrine is another Fiend dungeon. Sea Shrine also has a ludicrous number of chests. We're probably not going to see her open any of those chests, because I think she's already got some pretty decent gear, and I think she's one of those runners who prefers to do Sky when it comes to getting equipment. That being said, it does also go ahead and let you check the Waterfall Cave, which is where she's going. Waterfall is another one of our key item checks. So she's going to be getting a few more chests there, and another key item. And at this point, she knows one of these checks is going to give her the Mazamune, which is the sword that which is the best weapon in the game, basically. And given her setup, probably what she's going to wind up going for on that fighter, and then probably stick that Vorpal on the red mage, unless, well, no, it's 150%. She ain't going to be expecting anything that you need the Vorpal for. And we have chat. We have disputing in chat over whether Sky is the best dungeon. So I'm gonna let that percolate for a bit. Let's see here. So I believe everyone at this point should have their floater, and is working on getting that airship and catching up to where Min and Kalsu are in terms of access. So, let's see. I don't really think we saw anything too good in Armory Floor, which is our term for Volcano 2, and Min seems apt to agree. At the very least, he is not sticking around to check the rest of Volcano yet. I think he may be looking to stock up on supplies before diving back in. But in the meantime, Kalsu has made her way to the robot here in Waterfall. This one normally gives the cube, but we'll see what it has in store today. Really, anything it could have at this point would probably prove useful, because it can have the chime, which gets you into Mirage Tower. It could have the slab, which that opens up the Lefane check, which is not something I think she's necessarily eager to go do, but at this point is either Vanilla Chime, or it leads to a fetch quest that ends in either Vanilla Chime or Maza. I think we've seen all of our other terminal items at this point. Oh, question in chat. Is this randomizing just the items or everything? So it depends on what flags you have set. Tonight, we have shuffling on, which means all the items are the same in terms of what's in the chests in the vanilla game. However, they've all been moved around. So every chest in the game is a valid target for shuffling. Every NPC that gives you something is a valid target for shuffling, aside from the Elf Prince, Bahamut, and Dr. Un. But every other NPC in the game that gives you something normally can give you something different. The big thing that we do in Final Fantasy I Randomizer is what's called incentivization. And what that just says is it's an instruction to the randomizer that says, hey, you see these locations? That's what you should prioritize with key items. So tonight, our key item locations are all of the NPCs that normally give you an item, as well as where the floater's located in ice, which is what Ragnarok is checking right now using the warp glitch. The key item chest in Canary Castle, where Life Reboot is checking. The far left chest in the Titan's Cave, which is blocked by the Titan. We've moved the Titan so that he's blocking from either direction. And... Don't tell me. The Ordeal's chest where you get the tail. So what that left was one key item that was loose. That was the crown at the top of Earth Cave. So, speaking of checking things, we've got Min and Ragnarok now checking the Ice Cave. And it looks like Ragnarok is going to go ahead and check the rest of Ice Cave. So, for those of you who are unaware, the holes in Ice Cave, from the game's perspective, more or less, are just staircases that lead down. So you can use the warp spell to pop back up onto the staircase you took down, which, because of the placement of one of the holes, means you can just check all 3 of those chests in that one room in Ice Cave for free. You would never know this playing the vanilla game, because you can never get warp without going to Ice Cave first. And why would you go back to Ice Cave after you've been there? Ice Cave is awful. No one likes Ice Cave if they don't have to do it. Kalsu, it looks like, might be in go mode, though. I guess at this point she figures, I'm going to find the Moz at some point, and everyone else has decent enough equipment. So let's do this. Yeah, Orange. So basically the way that this works is the randomizer has a certain order that it puts items in the game. Like, I believe it puts... I can never remember the order, and I'm sure someone in chat will remember, and I'll just read it off when they say it. But yeah, what it does is it sets certain items in the game first, and then it throws everything else in. And then it looks at the whole thing and says, okay, is everything accessible? Like, is there anything that locks itself? Like you would expect if you're familiar with Link to the Past Randomizer. And the game will never allow something to lock itself. So if a seed passes that test, if everything is accessible in some way, shape, or form, then the game basically goes, okay, then this seed is valid. If it doesn't work, then it does, and it keeps doing that until it finds a valid seed, and then it gives you that, and then it gives you that last valid one. But yeah, so it doesn't do an item placement logic. It basically just has a few checks in place to make sure, to maximize the chances that the first time it does it, everything's accessible. Now, accessible does not mean easy to get to. It just means the airship doesn't lock itself, or the canoe isn't canoe locked, or the ruby isn't ruby locked, or something like that. Everything in the game can be found. It just might not necessarily be convenient, and it might not necessarily mean that the enemies that you have to go through to get there aren't going to horribly murder you. Like, for example, Kraken there just horribly murdered Kalsu's fighter. Like, that was... I didn't even see how many hits that was, but that was 502 damage. But yeah, hey Caleb, why don't you go ahead and throw the Discord link back in there, since we have people asking, because one thing that we have is what we call our Duckling Initiative. And the Duckling Initiative is actually what we're showing off tonight. These flags are being used for our Duckling Derby this weekend. This is the Garland Circuit. And Ducklings are what we call our new players. And basically, Ducklings are, you know, like I said, they're our new players. And we try to provide seeds that are more accessible for people who don't necessarily know the game as well as you can know the game. And so if you want to join our Discord, we have dedicated channels, both to helping Ducklings get started racing, to giving Ducklings environments to race against other people on their skill level, and to, you know, ask questions from people who are willing to sit down and explain all the crazy things. So if you're watching this and you're like, this looks cool, I want to try this out, come on, doors open, get in here. Anyway, back at the race. So Ragnarok found the chime. It was on the ferry. The bottle was in Ice Cave. So this is an interesting situation, because Kalsu sensibly is avoiding Ice Cave like the plague. Because Ice Cave is only slightly less terrible than Marsh Cave. And that's only because Ice Cave, you generally have a little more experience when you get there. And trolling tonight. Sorry to disappoint you, everyone. You're probably not going to see a Warmech fight unless someone decides that they are in fact a champion of the people. And while SRL might say that they're probably not going to win if they fight Warmech, they'll have won in our hearts. And let that be a lesson for anyone who joins future races and is restreamed. If you fight the patrolling Warmech, you are the people's champion. But that's neither here nor there. What is here is Kalsu, for those of you who weren't paying attention, got her clock cleaned by Kraken. We like to talk about Kraken 2, the Kraken you fight toward the end of the game, when you fight all the fiends a second time, as being one of the great gatekeepers, because the fiend refights can get pretty nasty if they roll well on their stats when we randomize enemy stats. Holy crap, there's a T-Rex! That killed the crap out of Life Reboot. Sorry, I just saw that. T-Rex is a very rare encounter, and we just recently got our very rare encounters fixed. Shoutouts to Meridian BC. But Kraken 1 gets a lot of hits and can get a lot of damage put out very quickly. And Kalsu learned that firsthand a few minutes ago. Kraken 1's rude. It is rude AF. But anyway, Min, meanwhile, has picked up his chime as well. So he at this point has the option of diving Sky. Probably won't, he has the option. I mean, in all fairness, Kama was put out there to die horrifically. Again, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Final Fantasy I Randomizer, or in Final Fantasy I in general, there is instead of having front and back rows like later games, instead what Final Fantasy I does is say, okay, if you're the first party member, you have a 50% chance of getting hit. If you're the second party member, you have a 25% chance of getting hit. And if you are the third or fourth party members, you have a roughly 12.5% chance of getting hit, with the fourth party member having a slightly higher chance. So it's one of those things where, in a fight like that, horrible things can happen to the first party member in the line. So as a rule, if you have a party member who needs to stay alive in order to win a fight, put that person in the back, and you leave them there. And you let your black mage, or your white mage, die a horrific, painful death. Because you can just revive them later. But you have to get to later first. And that's critical to the Final Fantasy experience. So anyway, what happened to Kalsu the first time around is her fighter who hit like a truck died in the first turn, and her mages just didn't have the damage output to kill Kraken. But that's neither here nor there, because Kraken is dead for her now. And she is trying to remember where she needs to go next, I think. But speaking of fiends, Min and Ragnarok are on their way to deal with Carrie. Oh, actually, Ragnarok may be about to do an Agama grind. So for those of you who are unaware, the Agama is an enemy who is found in the volcano and in the volcano-based floor in the final dungeon. The Agama is generally fairly weak and gives a lot of experience for how generally weak it is. And because experience points are generally distributed over living party members, what we are seeing here is Ragnarok setting up for an Agama grind. And what we're seeing from Life Reboot is an eye grind, because eyes are also generally weak and give a lot of experience. And what they're both hoping to do is to get a ludicrous amount of experience on their black belt, because black belts damage scales with level, and black belts, when you get them high enough level, get a lot of hits, and hits apply damage repeatedly, and black belts get a lot of critical damage when they hit a lot, and when they do a lot of damage with each punch. And they also get a lot of magic defense with each level that they get. Basically, black belts are like a snowball. A gently rolling snowball that doesn't really hurt when it first starts going down the hill. But then it starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and suddenly your little chalet in the Alps is looking up and going, "Oh, that's a really big..." And then your chalet is crushed because the black belt punched it, and now it's dead. And so anyway, that's what these two are about to do, is they're about to turn their black belts into forces of nature that will destroy your house in one hit. Now, why isn't everyone rolling with a black belt, you might be asking? Because this takes a while. Because you have to gain experience, and after a certain point, experience gets very expensive. Even if you're fighting weak enemies that give a lot of XP. So, what Kalsu and Min are basically saying is, you know what? Ain't nobody got time for that kind of grinding. I'm gonna find good enough weapons on the way, and I can just buff my fighter to be able to hit like a truck. So you know what? I'm willing to bet that I'm going to save more time not grinding a black belt than people who bring black belts are going to gain by bringing one. And it's a very interesting calculus, because what it boils down to is I'm going to get through everything I need to get through the first time. Because if anyone grinds up a black belt, they're getting through it the first time, because that black belt is going to destroy literally everything. Especially with the scaling we have. All the enemies currently, their stats are scaled between 66% and 150%. And what that translates to is, they're pretty much not a threat after, like, level 24. Generally. You might occasionally have an outlier that's going to do horrible, horrible things to your party. But generally it's not going to happen. You're fine. But it's one of those things, a black belt is utterly going to annihilate most of those things. If you have the spell fast and a black belt, it's probably going to kill everything in one or two, like, turns, just off the fast and being, like, level 35. That being said, we have not seen fast yet, which means it is either level 7 or level 8, which means we're not going to get a lot of fasts. Ooh, actually, Rafe Hates Caleb pointing out something in chat. Ragnarok's actually got a master. So, alright, this is interesting. So, Final Fantasy I, the way it was coded, every character has a stat that's normally invisible. The randomizer changes it so that you can't see it, called Magic Defense. Magic Defense is basically what D&D players would recognize as your saving throw. And saving throws in this game are generally, it's interesting. So I think it's like fighters get a +3, mages get a +2. I think thieves might get a +2 as well. They might get +3. Black belts, however, get a +4. Only black belts. If you class change a black belt, their magic defense growth changes to a +1. There's a lot of discussion in the randomizer community as to which one is how it's supposed to be. Like, is it supposed to be you class change the black belt and then they gain +4? Or was that just a mistake in general and the black belt's supposed to have a more natural progression? Or was there something else based on what we see in the later games, in the remakes of Final Fantasy I? I personally think it was intentional, because in Dungeons & Dragons in this time period, the monk got a lot of magical defenses, and I think that was supposed to recreate it in Final Fantasy I. But that's beside the point. the point is if you are going for black belt strategies, you do not class change that black belt if you're using vanilla magic defense, because that +4 means your black belt, by the time you get it up to the level that you want to just annihilate everything, is going to have a ludicrous amount of magic defense. Enough to where you don't have to care about, like, giving the black belt decent armor, because it's probably going to resist everything that you have to worry about. Yeah, or you class change late, if you do need something for class change. But speaking of finishing quickly, Burt Reynolds has finished in first place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 31 seconds. So, yeah. That's how fast this seed could have been played if he made all the right moves. I am deeply curious to see what he did. And if you're also curious, you can join our Discord and see the conversation happening live between him and everyone else who's playing this seed. Oh, hi, TNT! No, you haven't been found. Alright. And we have a slab on Min's side. Kalsu's about to get her chime. Ragnarok is climbing the Mirage Tower right now. And I think he's not really stopping to check too terribly much. Let me see real quick. Honestly, I don't know if there was anything that made the Red Mage worth class changing for. Except maybe equipment, because Red Wizard does get to wear things that the Red Mage doesn't. Yeah. And yeah, Cheesinator has already finished in second place, about a minute behind Bert, so... Yeah, we have a... Oh! Hello, Power Bonk and Bane Sword! Didn't expect to see y'all here. So, for those of you playing along at home who only know the original Final Fantasy I, the Power Gauntlet casts the spell Saber. Our wonderful devs have fixed the spell Saber. Oh, I think TNT leads to Maza. I think that's the end of our chain. So, yeah. Okay. So, Kalsu might be the only person to pick up that Maza on stream. Unless Min decides to head down to Lefane. But yeah. So... the Power Gauntlet casts Saber on whoever possesses it. Saber is basically Temper, but a little bit better. And then the Bane Sword casts the spell Bane, which D&D nerds would know as Cloud Kill. More importantly, it is a Poison Elemental instant death spell. I haven't really talked too much about instant death in this seed because, really, I think Bane and Quad X were our only two instant kill spells. But instant kill spells, in general, are really good in Final Fantasy I, because you know how in, JRPGs the stereotype is, oh, instant death spells never work on bosses, and anything you would normally use instant death, you would want to use instant death on otherwise, you can just kill with normal spells. Pfft, who needs instant death? No, in Final Fantasy I, you want instant death. Like, basically everything up to, like, the end game bosses, you can insta-kill. You might not necessarily be able to, easily insta-kill. You might have to cast the spell a few times. No, they will die to instant-kill spells with shocking regularity. Tiamat, the boss that Ragnarok and Life are about to fight, dies to poison. I think it's like a 25% chance to just die to any poison element instant kill spell. Kraken, who gave so much trouble. He's not vulnerable to poison, but his magic defense is so low. It's literally the same chance to poison Tiamat, who is weak to it. Lich, the Fiend of Earth. Despite being undead, you can just open a pit under him with the Quake spell, and he'll die. anything that's not immune to Death Element. If they have less than 300 XP, or 300 HP, they just died to Quad X. So yeah, no, you want instant kill, and the Bane Sword is a pretty good instant kill. Bane is Poison Elemental, it hits an entire group. If you have watched any of our big events over the last year, you have probably seen at least one or two, holy crap, I can't believe that Bane just worked there moments. And yeah, that's something else we haven't really gotten a chance to talk about tonight, is casting items. Life Reboot you just saw picked up a Thor Hammer. That is the best weapon for a white mage. More importantly, it freely casts the spell Lit 2. So, it's handy. It's nice. It does a lot of nice things when it comes to doing damage. It's a good workhorse spell. Person who found it Life Reboot has no use for it because he already cast the best spell in the game. Fist. And, you know, if you're not looking at chat, but you're curious, you can check out what's going on in chat. Cheese is in here mentioning that he ran Black Belt Thief, Red Mage. Because Thief can run away from basically everything. It's nice. Let's see here. Let's see, we've had a couple of more finishes in the meantime. Yeah, no, Fist is stronger than Nuke. Just because magic is keyed to a set range of spells. Or damage. Like, magic will always deal a set amount of damage, doesn't matter what level your mages are. So, you know, if you find the spell Nuke, the strongest spell in the game that deals direct damage early on, it does as much damage at first level as it would do if you were 50th level. Fists don't have that limitation. Fists you can get a lot stronger. I believe people have swung the Fist and the Fist, the Vorpal Sword, or the Maza for over 1500 damage. You can do a silly amount of damage in this game. Also, as a reminder, there's no point in blessing RNG. You will not see a war mech tonight unless someone wants to fight a war mech. But I just realized Kalsu is about to be on her way to Temple of Fiends, and she's got everything she would want for this, so... Oh, hi, Brack! And bye, Tiamat. So, at this point, Kalsu is going to be our first on-stream runner able to get into Temple of Fiends. Min still needs to follow the progression, still needs the Oxiel to get into Sea Shrine. Life Reboot, I believe, has the Oxiel. Yeah. So, he just needs to clear out Sea, and he's good to go. And Ragnarok still needs to go collect that Oxiel from Ordeals. So... Excuse me. So again, all the runners you're seeing on stream are relatively new or rusty. Min has been around for a little while, but he had to take a step back to kind of finish up some stuff with his education and other things. And Life Reboot, Ragnarok, and Kalsu, I believe, are all relatively new to the community. And right now, they are vying for... Well, yeah, they're all still in the running to pick up 6th or 7th or 8th place out of a field of 14 or 15. Many of whom are fairly experienced runners. So if you're looking at this and you're saying, man, Woat, you've talked a lot tonight, and you've talked about a lot of things that involve knowing how this game works. I don't know if I could learn all of this. No, Bull, you can absolutely learn this game if you're, you know, able to kind of remember a few basic things, and you're able to learn maps. That's half the battle. There's a lot of complicated stuff involving, like, saving and resetting, and all sorts of things. Like you saw Kalsu reset before coming into this dungeon. There are ways to manipulate the encounter table that are actually not terrible to learn. And everything else is just learning what fights you should take, what fights you shouldn't take, what spells do what weapons are good, what weapons are bad. it's a lot, but like, there's a lot of shortcuts you can take, and there's a lot of times you can just go, you know what? I know this is good enough. And good enough's good enough. So what are you waiting for? Caleb already did it. Good job, Caleb. Yeah, no, Caleb put that link up. Again, come on in. Water's fine. You could easily be right where these folks are in a shockingly small amount of time. Like, I know we have had people make it to the bracket stages in our spring tournament, which is coming up in a couple of months, with like a month of experience. So anyway, that's enough rambling about the game in general. So Lit 3 and Ice 3, both very handy to have in C. And it's important to remember, you want both of them are effective, because different monsters in Sea Shrine are vulnerable to ice versus lightning. And yeah, Ragnarok is finally going around to get his slab, which, as we know, ends in Mazza, but yeah, actually though, this is no good for him. He's already got everything he needs except that elusive Oxyale, which we know is in Ordeals, but I can see why he's making this play. Waterfall's a faster check than Ordeals if you get lost in the Pillar Maze. Meanwhile, Life has decided to take on Kraken on the theory of, I can hit you 8 times for 934 damage. And I don't actually think that involved any buffs. And yeah, no, Fizzle, we have been talking a good bit about Life. He has played that very well. He had a bit of a shaky start because, you know, as you know, Magic was not fantastic, but he got through fairly fast for taking a Black Belt and a Red Mage. As you can see, he's got all 4 orbs lit, and he is on his way to Temple of Fiends. So this is going to actually be interesting to watch. Kalsu has about a 5-floor lead on Life. But Life has that One Punch Man Black Belt. So it's going to come down to... So I think Kalsu has a big enough lead to where she'll still finish before Life. And yeah, let the giant text on Life's screen show you all. Follow Life Reboot after the match. I know how you are, Twitch chat. You can't see me gesturing, but you know what gesture I'm making. No, save the follows for after the fact. We'll post the link again, don't worry. But yeah, so it's one of those things. Life can plow through anything that gives Kalsu trouble. So it comes down to, does anything give Kalsu trouble? If not, she'll win out of the 4 runners on stream. If anything is a roadblock for her, though, Life can catch up very easily. And I assure you, nothing is stopping him. Nothing. Like, it would take a situation where... Okay, there are situations where he can still die, but they are hard to come by at this point. So anyway, Min is finding out the bad news that Kraken 1 is horrible and awful forever. But fortunately, his fighter is a bit better equipped and a bit higher level than Kalsu's was. So he's going to be able to at least get that fighter on his feet, and yeah, alright, we're done here. But yeah, so here's Kraken 2. Kraken 2 is usually what we think of as the first gatekeeper. His stats are usually a little bit absurd. And yeah, it can be bad times. And okay, hello Fire 3. That's unpleasant, but you know what? That Black Mage, still alive to get punched in the face. Goes for a YOLO Brack. The YOLO Brack produces nothing helpful. The Fiend refights are generally not nearly as vulnerable to spells as the Fiend first fights are. But you know what? You're black mage at this point. If you're Kalsu, basically just there to try and get those YOLO strats off, and wow, that was savage. Yeah, no, we've seen a few T-Rexes tonight, Bert. Yeah. Okay, this is a spell-happy Kraken, which is actually, as far as Kraken 2 goes, that's what you want to see. A spell-happy Kraken 2 is a Kraken 2 who's not punching you in the face. And, oh, Min bumping into that thing I was concerned about. Hi, multiple RN kilos. With slow, I missed that the first time. Slow in this game lowers how many hits you get off when you attack. For those of you who've been paying attention, who didn't know this previously, that's bad. That makes it really hard to do physical damage, and physical damage is what, with the spell selection we have, what we've got. Because I think Ankylos also have really good M defense. Min did save before he got off the airship, right? Alright, Fizz with the Knowledge Bomb that are Ankylos, you can Lit 3 and Quad X. I think the problem here is his Lit 3 and Quad Xers are already dead. Okay, so Min's gonna have to hike all the way back. Fortunately, I think he already did all of the legwork, so he just has to fly back and remember to save this time. Wait, was Nuke level 3? Did I just miss that? Okay. Okay, thank you. I was worried there for a second. I guess it was level 7. Okay. Yeah, it dawned on me after the fact. Okay. Yeah, I missed that when Kalsu checked it. But she is through to Chaos, and Life Reboot, like I said, made up a lot of ground with that black belt. So, Chaos, I'm guessing, is not going to be a issue. But let's go ahead and see what Chaos is doing. Oh, hi, T-Rex. Alright, so we've got Tempers flying onto that Knight. We have Invis 2 going up from the White Mage. Knight is going to just go ahead and start swinging, see how Chaos is. And Chaos leads off with a Fire 2. I am not that intimidated. That looked like 4 hits for about 359. More Tempers getting out. Yeah, no, this is not looking good for the big winged man. However, he does Crack. Crack is an Earth Elemental spell that you need a Ribbon or a Rub to defend against. And Kalsu casts neither of those. But it's fine. The Knight is still standing, getting hit with a Lit 2, and that was 3 for 353. Cure 4 going out to keep that White Mage up so she can continue peppering Chaos, but it doesn't matter because the Knight kills Chaos, and Kalsu has finished in 9th place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 6 seconds. Finishing behind Edgeworth in 3rd, Elmerk in 4th, Lord Fizzlebeath in 5th, Sonny Wrath in 6th, Spellzap in 7th, Sho Fukumachi in 8th. And meanwhile, Life Reboot is already on Tiamat 2, as Ragnarok heads into Sea Shrine, and Min is about to reach the Floating Fortress. And Kalsu just sniped St. Von Jester with a 10th place finished about 1 minute behind her. We're going to see if she wants to pop in for an interview. I'm assuming that she has that invite on the way. So she should join us shortly. Alright, so meanwhile, Life Reboot has been doing exactly what I said. He has murder punched his way through. And yeah, looks like Turn Order saved his bacon on Tia 2, but he is through and on his way to Chaos, which he should have no trouble taking down with this black belt. Chaos, outside of that crack, had nothing and was very spell happy. So, it's a good question. Hey chat, where was the white shirt? Because I didn't see a white shirt either. Like, I know that we had access to Invis too, but otherwise... Okay, thank you, Sonny. Yeah, I don't think anyone actually checked most of Ice, or if they did, I was distracted with other things going on elsewhere. There were 4 people, and I am 1 man. But yeah, so Life Reboot hits Chaos, 7 hits for 1400 damage, and yeah. I know people like, dramatic final boss fights. Level 40 Black Belt takes all of the drama out of final boss fights at these scalings. It's literally just, hi, I'm a Black Belt. And Chaos is just like, oh, I guess I lose then. And then you're like, yep. And then Chaos dies. Welcome to Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer. But yeah, Life Reboot has finished with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 15 seconds, and 11th place. SVJ basically popping in literally, like, in that 1 minute gap between Kalsu and Life Reboot. But I will point out, there was a 5 minute gap between Kalsu and Life Reboot going into Temple of Fiends Revisited. Yeah. That's Black Belt for you. Basically, if Kalsu had had any trouble anywhere else in the seed, Life Reboot would have beaten the seed before she did. Oh hey, Ragnarok finally noticed that he was not in SRL chat, so that's good. I was a little bit worried there. But it looks like he and Min are basically going to be going into Topher simultaneously, so this is going to be interesting. Alright, so Kalsu should be joining us, and I believe we've also got Life coming in. So we'll see about that. In the meantime, so Min is the first runner into Temple of Fiends Revisited, and he set up, I think he set up his run pretty well, based on how quickly he's already up to the Phantom Tile. Ragnarok's going to be taking a minute to save at the end before heading up. So, yeah. So, Danny updating, alright, updating us. So, we have about a 30-40 second gap between Min getting into Temple of Fiends Revisited, Ragnarok getting into Temple of Fiends Revisited. So, I feel like encounters are going to play a factor here. Oh, Gas Dragons had, Zap. It's not great. Alright, it's looking like we're having some issues getting the, invites for our runners to come in and get an interview. I'm sure that we'll get that handled behind the scenes. But in the meantime, Min losing a lot of time to an 8-pack of group attack spells. Which Dark, not actually a threat. But the problem is that, yeah, that takes a long time to roll through, even with speed hacks. Like, even if Ragnarok gets that same encounter, which he doesn't, his 3-man strat would have still made that fight faster. But yeah, so that is another factor to take into consideration, especially with... That's something else we really didn't discuss. 3-man or 2-man versus 4-man. Four-man gives you the security of having more parity with the action economy and being able to spread out your tools a little bit better. But the thing is 3-man, 2-man get a lot more experience, a lot faster, even if you don't do much grinding. More importantly, when you run into situations where you have a large pack of enemies casting group attack spells, they cycle through just that hair faster, and that can make a difference. But speaking of making a difference, that fight gave Ragnarok the ability to jump ahead of Min. So, and his strategy at this point is going to be, I'm just running from everything and punching what I can't. Alright, so we're going to see about trying to manually get them in here. So, yeah, this is going to just take just a second. Actually, Danny, since you're pretty much done at this point, if you can use the Discord invites we have in the speed gaming bot to try and get them in there, I'd appreciate it. Alright, cool. We've got Life Reboot. Yeah, they're getting manual invites. We're working on it. Alright, Life Reboot and Kalsu are in the setup room. They should be hopping up shortly. Alright, yeah, Danny was way ahead of me on that. I should have expected as much. But yeah, Kalsu and Life are gonna join us at some point, folks. In the meantime, Ragnarok already at Kraken 2, while Min just now reaching water floor. So, again, this is a situation that it's real interesting. Because, yeah, that black belt grind, potentially not, the strongest play, as we saw. But in the right circumstances, can be very handy. And I believe that is the sound of a Kalsu joining us. GG, Kalsu!
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. And that is the sound of Life joining us. GG, Life!
Hey, thank you.
Alright, so y'all had two very different strategies for this seed. Life ran a 2-man party from the outset, taking a pair of nuns along with a black belt and a red mage. Kalsu, meanwhile, went with a fighter rainbow. So, while we're kind of watching the rest of the Ragnarok clean up, because he went with 3-man black belt strats, could you kind of speak to, kind of your reasoning on both of those?
Well, for me, I'm just very comfortable taking the rainbow strat. Like, it's not always the fastest, but it's rare that you're in a situation... Actually, no, that's not true. The situation where that strat is bad is when magic is terrible. But most of the time, magic is not completely terrible, so it's usually not, like... It's not always the strongest, but it is almost never the worst part.
Alright, Life, what about you?
I elected to follow the suggestion of Burt Reynolds, who had said he'd studied these flags and ran Black Belt Red Mage only. I had tried it at one point, and I got a very decent time, probably the best I ever had on a seed, so I just decided to roll with that tonight.
Alright, yeah, well, if you don't have chat pulled up in Speed Gaming 3, Burt literally was just immediately like, Black Mage, Red Mage, Dan, it's the best way to play Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer. Also, get your GGs out. Ragnarok 784 has finished in 13th with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 8 seconds. Behind Dengwu, who finished in 12th about 6 minutes ago. So, we might have to manually invite Rag to join us as well. I'm not sure if he's up for an interview, but we'll see. In the meantime, though, Kalsu, you made an interesting play early on, to just go ahead and do Earth Cave before you followed up on the Crown.
Well, I thought about it for a second to go do Crown, but then it's like, well, I'm already here, and importantly, I do not have enough money to buy the floater. And I was pretty sure by the time I was done with Earth, I would have that money. And also, I didn't need to, because I found the loose, and literally the first box I opened, I didn't need to waste time crawling all over Earth opening things. So that actually made Earth a lot more appealing to me.
Yeah, no, that made a lot of sense. So yeah, you picked up a lot of money pretty quickly, and then went and bought your floater, and then, you know, that's really what kind of the on-stream runners kind of gave you an edge, was just you blew through like that early kind of linear progression just because you were willing to commit to Earth. Ragnarok led off with a marsh dive, which we'll get into in a minute. And, well, yeah, Life, you spent a lot of time, I noticed, early on outside of Crest, just kind of getting those early levels going. Which I'm guessing that was just part of your strategy.
Yeah, with the 2-man, I figured that it was a good option. The PDs were the first in the encounter table, and I could get some spell charges for my Red Mage fast that way, so I elected to do that. I might have stayed there a little bit long, but I did the same thing with diving Earth and finding the crown right away. What felt relatively early to me, but maybe I wasn't the first there. It just, I was kind of on that side with the rod, so I decided to do it.
All right. So Min finished in 14th with official SRL time of 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 26 seconds. Which GG's to Min for finishing that out.
Thank you.
All right. So let's see. I'm trying to think. So Min, you went with Fighter Thief, White Black.
Yeah.
What was your reasoning on that front?
It's just a typical party that I use a lot, and it's something I feel comfortable with, which is something I felt like I needed for my first race back in months.
Official SRL time of 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 26 seconds. Which
Magic overall was kind of just average anyway, so I didn't really feel the need to reset for a Red Mage.
All right. I'm not sure whose audio we're using, but I'm currently getting feedback from them, so we might need to turn audio off. What was your reasoning on that front? So, yeah. In the meantime, all right, there we go. I think we got it fixed now. All right, so I'm trying to think of questions. Chat, did I have any questions for Min that I said out loud and then promptly forgot about? Because, yeah. So we're just kind of catching everyone up on what happened with the on-stream runners. So, Min, you made the decision fairly early on to, when you found that crown in Earth, immediately double back. Oh, I do remember. I'll get to that in a second. So, was that just kind of I'd rather not dive Earth, so let's go see if the crown leads to something useful?
So I was really hoping for key off crown, because I really wanted gold for that floater, which is why I took the floater grind right after I got back from doing crown. I doubled back for that immediately, because I just wanted money.
Alright, so, why that particular grind, just out of curiosity? Because Hall of Giants was nearby. You probably could have gotten to Peninsula of Power without too much trouble from the imps along the way. So why that particular grind south of
I just didn't feel like my magic was good enough at that point, and a lot of the encounters on sea give lots of gold anyway. So I may as well have just taken that there. Yeah, imps had toxic, so
I may have laughed way too hard when I saw that on all 4 of your screens at the outset of the seed. We do have a Ragnarok with us. Ragnarok, GG.
Thanks. It was a whole lot of forgetting everything.
I mean, you didn't forget too terribly much. So I'm gonna ask you the same thing I asked everyone else, because all four of y'all took very different parties. You took, I believe. Actually, okay, I'm gonna admit I kind of blanked on what your party was. I remember you did 3-man strats, but why don't you go ahead and speak to why you went with the party you went with?
I went black belt, thief, red mage, white mage, and with the flag sets being 10% for experience per key item, black belt seemed like one of the best things to take, so I can do a fairly early grind in Volcano with vanilla trap tiles. And lucky for me, the pirates killed off the thief right away, so easy 3-man from there. And I just kept the white mage stoned throughout Earth.
I didn't even notice that it was 10%. What? How did I finish at such a low level?
Because with 10% and the progression you did, you just you didn't stop to grind anywhere, and you kind of go-moded most of the game. I'm guessing, Kaosu, you worked out fairly early on. Okay, I'm just going to track down the Maza when I get to it, once you found the loose crown.
Yeah. And of course, it was literally the last item I got, but...
Yeah, but it's one of those things you finished at a low level because you just go-moded most of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You go-moded Earth, even. But yeah, Ragnarok. Marsh Cave. Let's talk about Marsh Cave for a minute.
I was hoping the loose was down in Marsh Cave. That's where I was hoping. But it wasn't, so... I was trying to big brain that.
There's a reason why friends don't let friends dive unincentivized marsh.
Even when it's incentivized, usually try to wait on it.
I never touch marsh unless I have to.
But yeah, let's take a step back on that one. Imps with Toxic.
Never saw it.
Really? I thought all of y'all saw it. Yeah, no, Imps had Toxic, and it was their first skill.
No, I definitely reset off of Imps.
I actually ran away from the Imps every single time. I never even saw it.
Okay, then.
Made the decision once I got to Temple of Fiends really easy too. No, I'm not looting and risking having to go past those Imps.
Yeah, Min, I was actually wondering about this out loud. You found a pro ring, somewhere.
It was in Toph, I think.
Yeah, it was. That's right. So you made the decision to go back and check the chests in Temple of Fiends just on the basis of, I know I can get there, and I know I can... If I don't have to make it to Garland, I can reset out. So you found a pro ring, and I think you did walk it out, right?
Yeah, I got a cabin out of one of the chests and saved at Toph.
Yeah, so did find that pro ring, you immediately went to Matoya after that. I'm guessing that was on the foundation of, I've got a pro ring now, I can get out of here.
I went to Matoya again because I really wanted gold for that floater, because I always trade a gun for floater as soon as I can. Because if I can get to that earlier than everyone else, that's a big advantage on the speed that I can clear things.
Yeah,
and that's where I messed up. I read 51,000 on the floater instead of 17.
Oh!
Yikes.
I don't think it can be that expensive.
Not at Provoca. So, for everyone, Corneria and Provoca have their shop prices modified. So, I believe it's Canaria, the shop item is always going to be 1/8 of whatever price it rolled at the beginning of, when the seed was generated. And at Provoca, I think it's either a quarter or half. So I
straight up just misread that, so that's why I was everywhere before I got to the floater.
Kalsu, you were going to say?
Well, just what I mean is, the max possible... I guess, actually, the max possible amount for that something can cost is less than 50k.
No, it's the max is 65k.
Oh, okay. It was a little bit higher than I thought.
Yeah. And for the record, it's my fault that that is the case with Canaria and Provoca, because the only time we had to re-roll a seed, I want to say in the 2018 spring tournament, was when I rolled a seed that had TNT at like 50k in Canaria, and it blocked progression. Like out of the Canaria dwarf area.
So I'm guessing extended open progression with no starting boat, and you needed TNT to get the boat.
No.
or-
This was before extended open, so there was still a river tile south of dwarves.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's why Canaria now has cheap shop items and Provoca has cheap-ish. Because Provoca, you can still Peninsula of Power at that point. Canaria, you ain't got nothing. So, yeah, there's your fun history lesson for the day. But yeah, no, you all played the seed fairly well. It was just stupidly fast. Just because, you know, if you were willing to, you know, make some plays early on, you could get that floater super fast, and then just from there, between all the key items you found right out the gate and just being able to fly everywhere, it was really easy to get the XP you needed.
So if I had to guess, most of the people who, I mean, this is a guess. It's not like you would know because none of them were on stream. But I suspect that most of the people who finished in the 1 hour range probably went to grind on the Peninsula of Power.
That's a good question. I know a few of them are still looking at the stream, so if they want to chime in and chat with what their early plays were.
I saw Bert say that he did that.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised that was the case. I honestly was expecting at least one of you to make a POP play, but then I remembered the imps existed, so it was one of those things where it's like, I can see absolutely none of them wanting any of that garbage.
No, I just hate grinding. I will usually avoid it if I can help it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you, Kausu, on that front. Yeah, Bert's in chat saying that he went for Peninsula of Power, but he would have considered Marsh or Earth equally valid in terms of getting that early experience and getting the money you needed. Fizzlebeef also went for Peninsula of Power, so yeah, I think you're right on that front, Kausu.
Then I would have went there too if I'd have read the price right.
Honestly, if I'd read the price that way, I might have done the same thing. But yeah, if the shop items in Provoker or Canaria, just as a general rule, if you think it says something higher than like 32k, you're wrong, and you need to go back and look, because it cannot be higher than 32k, and I think it might not even be that high. I think it might be like 16k is the max. But again, that's something that you can ask about down in the Discord, which, hey, thanks for pulling that up. I have no idea what your name is, but anyway, yeah.
Banana dial.
Thank you, Kausu. This is why you're one of the people I like to do comms with. Because you can read and I can't. But speaking of comms, we should probably go ahead and start wrapping up so that y'all can get down to the Discord and find out what all was going on. And if you're watching and want to find out what everyone off stream did, click the link. Go to the Discord. It's obvious where this conversation's happening. But let's go ahead and get some final thoughts. Ragnarok, let's start with you.
Man. It was a really good seed. It was really fast. It was a good seed for the most part. I didn't see a whole lot of nasty things, so I thought it was pretty good. And congratulations to everybody who finished, too.
All right, Min?
Don't overcommit to floater.
All right, Life?
Looking forward to the Duck Derby. Also, I think that I would have been better. I was grinding for that floater, and then once I had enough money, I forgot that extended open progression puts a port underneath the desert there, so I could have grabbed it. I actually was thinking I still needed the canoe, so it would be a mistake, but hopefully as I continue to play these, I'll make less of those.
All right. And Kausu, what about you?
This was a fun seed, but also someone finished 20 minutes faster than me. I'm just like, no, I can do better.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of those things. Like, I imagine there's going to be a lot of discussion of what went down in the post-race spoilers room, and I'm sure most of these folks have their broadcasts saved, so it might be worthwhile to go back and take a peek. As for me, shoutouts to Danny3883 for doing the tracking tonight. Shoutouts, as always, to my commentary partner, Woat. Thank you very much, Woat, and, shoutouts to you as well. Let the shouting happen. If you haven't already followed these runners, go follow them. You enjoyed watching. If you enjoyed these flags, I would remind everyone that on Saturday the 18th at 9 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be having our Duckling Derby. Where that's going to be happening to be determined. I believe it is here on the Speed Gaming family of networks, though. And that will be these flags. And on Thursday at 10 p.m. on the Randomania family of networks, we'll be previewing the round 2 flags for the Duckling Derby in our other weekly race. So,
oh, is it round 2?
Yeah, the round 2 flags are the Thursday night flags.
I must have misread it when I was looking at it on our fantastic Discord.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I believe that is being linked right now in the chat if you're still watching. But yeah, no, so that's going to do it for us here tonight on Speed Gaming. Thanks for joining us, and we're going to be sending y'all off, presumably, to something else happening, which, if I had to take a wild stab in the dark, is probably Link to the Past related.
Yeah, that's a good bet.
That's a really good bet. So,
bye!
Yeah, y'all take care, everyone. Have a good night.